started, I'm going to take you back to the journey. So in 2011, I had just finished a stint as a managing director and a CEO of an Indian subsidiary of a US CPA firm, and I was at crossroads between seeking employment somewhere or turning into an entrepreneur. And I decided to choose the latter path, and there was born Ventura Pranas. We had all but one outsourcing partner from the US, and we had no Indian clients except for one semiconductor chip design company out of Bangalore called Aura Semiconductor. And I am thrilled to have the CEO with us. Srinath, if you could just stand up to be recognized. There you are. So the company has grown by leaps and bounds, and thank you for keeping us a partner in your journey. It's helped us come this far. I then switched to 2012, 2013. I had never sold a thing in my life, so I decided to put my saleswoman hat on, and I wore my shoes out prospecting clients from NRI-centric communities, because that's where our services would be needed the most. And I zipped across the country, traveling 3 days a week. I would be in Bangalore one day, Hyderabad the next, Gurgaon. I went from city to city looking for clients. I did little soft pitches trying to tell people what tricks and tips they should use in doing their tax returns. And so that's how the journey started. And we started with a very small book of clients who placed faith in us. And so that was the beginning. I also want to recognize now that our first sales pitch was made on this website called R2I, which stood for Return to India, which was a go-to website for a lot of Indians looking to relocate to India. And I think RRK might be here in the crowd. If you are, RRK, thank you for making me see what that could do for us as a company. I then go into the next year. We started getting more and more clients, and it gave me faith that there was something in the VP USP that was special and that we were servicing a really niche area. It gave me renewed confidence that we were in the right space. Fast forward to 2015, we lost the only outsourcing client we had at that time, and suddenly, all of a sudden, we had this jolt where our revenues dwindled by over 50% overnight. And it sort of reinforced the emphasis on having to become self-reliant. So we kept at it. We did what we could to ring-fence our company. And at the same time, we had our own clients who had worked with us who extended a helping hand. And there was born our advisory board with Rajiv Mohan. Thank you for being here, Rajiv. And Dr. Man Singh, who had grown Cisco Systems in India, so a giant organization. And Dr. Mitta, who had pioneered Wipro. So, you know, what better advisory board than that? And they became our voice of reason, and they steered us forward. And then I jumped to the next year. We continued to sell, and we started to get more and more footfall. It was all by word of mouth. Again, reaffirming my belief that we were in a really, really niche space. Although our outsourcing work was there, you know, I just felt that we were starting to see a lot of traction, and it somehow gave me belief that we were going to succeed with just this client base. Then what happened, 2016 came along, and our only outsourcing partner had left the previous year. Well, in came another one. And, you know, this was this high-powered New York-based firm, and at that time, it just seemed like the perfect thing to do, to jump into bed with a US CPA firm from New York City and becoming a partner with them. But again, it was the voice of reason from my friends who are here with us today and our advisory board who said, take a step back, you know, see if you can do this any differently. Is the culture of this incoming firm going to work for your clients? Your clients have joined you because you've got a certain USP. And so that's exactly what we did. We decided to build and operate their subsidiary, and we did that, and we kicked it off. On we go. We started to get more and more work from this, the suitor from New York City. They actually had a bid to buy us out, and I'm glad I held out. And what was striking is, although our outsourcing work had far replaced the guy who had left us, our own footfall from our own onboarding was outstripping our outsourcing volume of work. Again, reaffirming my belief that we were in the right space, we were in a niche space, we should probably start focusing on that more. But I was always at crossroads because, you know, my capacity was getting stretched in all of this. I moved to the next year. We went into 2019. And I think this was an inflection point for us because we're working with a very dynamic set of clients, hugely restless, ambitious. They're all in corporate world or they're pursuing an entrepreneurial journey. And because of that, they actually forced us to delve deeper, and that led to the formation of our consulting group. We were primarily a compliance firm until then, and suddenly out of all this emerged our advisory services, which again affirmed my faith that we were in a really special place and our team was diving deeper and getting highly skilled in this area. I then move on to tell you what I think is another inflection point in our journey is the acquisition of a firm in the United States. It seemed like the perfect fit for us, a US CPA firm, 35 years old, grown by an Indian who had passed away recently at that point in time, and a huge volume of Indian clients, but in the United States. And so, and it was Los Angeles, which is where I'd lived. So it just seemed like an absolute perfect fit for our business. So we went ahead and bought it, and you won't believe it, this was so close on the heels of COVID-19. And we were terrified as soon as we got it. But the last 2 years, we've actually spent significant amount of time settling that practice, and I'm happy to say that it's fully integrated with our practice today. The one thing I do want to point out is something that has been transformational for my team has been the fact that they moved on from being faceless operators behind tax returns in the outsourcing sphere to becoming advisors with our own captive clients. We had clients calling them, they were interfacing with them directly, taking calls, giving them advice. They all became advisors in their own capacity, which I think was transformational for them. I also want to say that that resulted in what I thought was the most heartwarming outpouring of support when we lost people to COVID-19. We lost some dear employees, some of our best actually. So many clients sent funds in for the support of the families of those we had lost. And again, you did that because you knew the people behind the work that was getting done. So I think that was huge for the company. I then move on to COVID-19. It happened so close to our acquisition. It fueled fears on whether this was the right thing to do. Did we make a mistake? But I want to say that COVID has been a game changer for us as a business. The first thing is that it brought about scalability to our practice. I used to be the only person wearing the saleswoman hat, running across cities. And from that, it actually turned into me being able to do this from the confines of my home. I had my own team step up to the plate, and they were all selling. So I think it tremendously changed our ability to onboard clients. The second thing is that we were already a virtual practice. From inception, we've been paperless, very different from a traditional CPA or a CA firm. We had clients all over the world. We had a virtual way of doing business. So it just seemed like the most natural thing of just taking people out of their offices, putting them in their homes, and continuing work as normal. So I think that was, again, a seminal moment for me. And the third, I think, was just realignment. I think COVID forced us all to get out of the noise of the office, and it helped me. I, for one, was stranded in the United States for 6 months, and it was 6 months of just taking a look at the business from a 10,000-foot level and seeing how we have to realign. And I think that has been transformational again for the company. So I move on from COVID-19 to fast forward to 2021. What did we do? We acquired the same R2I website that became our first launch pad, and it's now part of our company. So that was one accomplishment. The second, I think, which is more poignant, is that we all emerged with a renewed confidence that we can do it alone. So what did we do? We bid farewell to our suitor from New York, and we said, here's your subsidiary, we built it, operated it, now it's yours to take over, and we're going into the future completely dependent on our own clients, which is a huge transformation from a knowledge process outsourcing firm to a firm that is truly in the space of US India tax and compliance advisory. So that's the journey I wanted to share with you. Thank you. So I thought maybe this is a good time to talk a little bit about the future, having set the stage of how far we've traveled. So what do I want to do? I want to take this firm from good to great, and how do we do that? I think Rajiv pointed to that as well. We want to establish this firm as an exemplary hallmark of client service in this space. We want to stay very relevant. As you can see, our laws are changing every day. Every day there's a new administration in the United States. There's something else happening in India. So we've got to keep our team fully on board with those changes. I think we have to get more and more efficient as an organization, which means we have to invest smartly in technology and automation. I'd like to be able to offer my clients a 360-degree engagement, which means getting deeper in terms of engagement with our clients. We have expanded our services, but not done enough in telling our clients what else we do, and I'm hoping we can do more of that. I do think that the team is super important. As you can see, we wouldn't be here without them, which means it's extremely important for me to invest in them, hold on to them, but most importantly, give them a sense of purpose and empowerment and let them know that they can actually build a career out of being in this niche space of advisory. And last but not the least, I think we would like to take this organization to becoming an authority in the space of US and India cross-border practice. We have expanded and we have already established that we were able to purchase, integrate successfully a firm. My game plan for the next 5 years is to potentially open another office in the Asia Pacific area. And I'm guilty of moving a lot of my clients to Singapore, and I'm hoping that that becomes our next stop. So that's all I had in terms of my presentation. I'm going to now move on to gratitude. So if somebody could put up the slides for the gratitude. So I want to point out that throughout all of these inflection points, whether it was the, taking on the new client, loss of a client, handling COVID, dealing with the partition with the suitor from New York City, consulting. The cornerstone of all of this was having a team behind me. They stabilized our established revenue sources in the form of tax returns and compliances while I could get busy experimenting. So I'm extremely grateful. I then move on to my clients who are again the cornerstone of any successful business, but most importantly, those who reached out to help us. We have an exemplary advisory board. I am so fortunate to have them. And these are stalwarts who have built huge organizations. I want to thank my family, Satish, my partner in life and business. Thank you for allowing me to fly in mad pursuit of my dream. You've allowed me to take that, and whatever we are today is because of you. I also want to thank my children for putting up with the absentee mom. Even when I was physically present, I was mentally preoccupied with my clients' needs. And I've been more absent these days with traveling between countries. I want to thank the support at home. These are people who make my life possible. I have a home in 2 countries. I have families. I have friends that I want to keep in touch with. They make it all possible. I also have, a lot of support. This is just a couple of examples of people who have been hugely supportive. My friends and my fellow Rotarians at Rotary Club of Madras, the entire event today is from my friends. They've put this thing together. My father and mother, my father is a CA too, and he has imbibed in me a work ethic and a culture that has held me in good stead throughout my career. And my mom's taught me what grit and adaptability is all about. She's an incredibly strong woman. Couldn't be here today, but I'm very fortunate to have them in my life. And last but not the least, my dear, dear father-in-law. We lost him in May of 2021. He passed away so suddenly. He came in as a helping hand into the business and soon became a pillar of support in the organization. We wouldn't be here without his help, and it was a rarity in this relationship between daughter-in-law and father-in-law to have the equation I had with him. I never said it enough while he was alive as to how much he meant to me, but I am so happy that I was his daughter-in-law and he gave us today. That's all I had. Thank you.